All right, joining us on the broadcast to take this discussion forward is Shubhranshu Pratim Sharma, research scholar JNU, and Abhinav Borbora, political commentator. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. We appreciate your time. Let me go across first to Mr. Borbora. So when you look at this entire airport that is being inaugurated, do you believe that because this is an opening into the northeast, and historically we have seen some kind of geographical isolation of the region, do you believe that now with this new airport, Guwahati can become a gateway not only to the northeast but also to Southeast Asia?
If you visit the state archives in Dispur, the Assam State Archives, you would see an old photograph of Lokopriya Gopinath Bordoloi deboarding an aircraft in an airstrip in a place called Borjhar. That same site became the site of the Guwahati Airport, which later on today has become the site of one of the most advanced and state-of-the-art airports in the entire country. I think it's a great honor, not just for Mr. Bordoloi, but for the people of Assam who have long struggled with the entire idea of a disjuncture in connectivity with the different parts of the country as well as with Southeast Asia. As you can see, since 2014 and since 2016, when a BJP government was formed in Assam, both the governments in the state and center are trying to position the Northeast as a major developmental hub, and the semiconductor industry being one such instance, and at the same time as a major tourist hub. So from both of these perspectives, I think a state-of-the-art aerodrome that can handle inflow of multitudes of passengers and footfall is a necessity. And as such, I do believe that having a state-of-the-art airport would actually help in handling the kind of passenger flows that the state is expected to have over the next decade. At the same time, I should also like to tell you that the construction of a new airport has been a long-standing public demand for quite some time now. Because as you see, if you look at the other airports, even within the state of Assam, or for that matter, the entire Northeast region, in the previous waves of modernization, when the Dibrugarh airport was upgraded, or when even the airport in Agartala was upgraded, the airport in Guwahati was never actually upgraded in a wholesome way. It was only some ad hoc upgradation, some ad hoc additions here and there that were made. I am in my early 30s now, and I can tell you from my own experience that over the last almost 2 decades, the carpet area of the existing airport has not even increased. And from the 90s till present, if you can see, there would be a time when there would be just 3 or 4 flights operating per day from Guwahati, to having multiple aircrafts operating out from Guwahati or coming into Guwahati. But like I said, the carpet area had remained the same. Or for that matter, there would be a time when the airport would only be reserved for domestic operations. And in the last few years, there have been a number of international flights operating out of the Guwahati airport. So while operations have increased, the carpet area has remained fixed. And as a result of that, in the existing terminal, from experience I can say, and something that finds an echo with most other commuters in and out of this airport, the airport had become extremely inconvenient to use. For example, when international flights were introduced from the region, immigration counters had to be carved out of that same fixed floor area. For example, some years, almost 5-7 years ago, new aerobridges were introduced. But how were they installed? They were actually amalgamated into the existing terminal building by creating ad hoc corridors. So as a result of this kind of an ad hoc approach that had long plagued the convenience of passengers of the Guwahati airport, it had become extremely inconvenient. It had led to serpentine queues and a lot of delays in handling passenger traffic. So I believe not just that the new airport would facilitate repositioning Assam as a major transit hub in this entire region, but it would also be really helpful for everyday commuters who have to rely on the airport to whether move out of the region or move into the region.
Absolutely. If I could also rope in Mr. Sharma into this discussion. Mr. Sharma, apart from the regional connectivity, apart from looking towards the Southeast Asia and Guwahati emerging as a gateway to that region, we are also looking at a world-class airport. built indigenously with products like the bamboo and the themes as well, portraying and inspired from local Assamese culture and heritage. So how do you look at that? Do you see that benefiting the local manufacturers over there? Do you see markets being affected, the use of local products in infrastructures as large as this?
Yes, Shivani, I think this is a pivotal moment for the state of Assam. I was just looking at the tweets that Prime Minister Modi posted yesterday with the photos of the airport. If you see the replies in 4 tweets of that tweet, there are million foreigners and many residents of India appreciating this airport, and those are not PR accounts. So just imagine, just 25 years back when I was a toddler, just 1 or 2 year old, this state was known for militancy, floods, and apathy or state motherly attitude from Delhi. Look at 25 years later, today, under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, this state is being projected as a hub of connectivity, the gateway to the East Asian countries, and this state-of-the-art airport, which can compete with any great airport across the country and even internationally. I saw somebody mentioning about Portland while comparing this with. So I think this is a huge moment for the youth, for the development. And you mentioned about the cultural symbols that have been incorporated. Just consider this. This government or this political establishment has two key ideas while projecting their political ideas: development and identity. And see how beautifully those have been merged in this airport. Development, you see the push for connectivity, the state-of-the-art infrastructure, as well as the identity part, the push for orchids, Kopou Phool, the rhino, the bamboo, all these things incorporate the ethos of Assam. And just imagine how this has transformed Assamese landscape, because today the state is known for semiconductors, for organizing concerts of post-melon. We have these agro-based businesses. We are talking about great tourism infrastructure in this country. We are talking about Act East policy. So that these discussions, these narratives actually influence the people for achieving greater excellence, for mainstreaming the society. And I think this will go a long way. I mean, these are not just isolated incidents. I mean, from 2014 onwards, we see great push towards connectivity, towards integrating the region, and making this part integrated with the rest of India. So these small things, along with this airport, will take this country, will take Assam to a greater height, and also help us, Assamese, contribute to the nation's progress and also international progress. So I think it's a huge thing.
In fact, Mr. Sharma, if we look beyond aesthetics as well, the airport does portray how sustainable our indigenous material can be, because we have the examples of sustainable materials being used. We have rainwater systems being, modern waste practices also being included in the design.
True, indeed true. If you see the infrastructure, if you see, in fact, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, in one of his addresses in Bangalore or Delhi, I forgot, somewhere he mentioned that the airport that we are building in this, in Guwahati, the new airport, will be able to compete very nicely with the Bangalore airport. I mean, just look at the infrastructure, just look at the pictures, and how, in fact, if you look at the making of this airport, the combination of private entities like Adani and also with government, how they have fused towards making this state-of-the-art infrastructure. And sustainability is very important. If you look at a region like Northeast, here the development can't just be destroying the existing nature or those kind of things. That's not possible. It has to be harmonized with the nature. The trees and the buildings has to coexist. So you can see that in the infrastructure of this airport, the naturonomics in a way that has been reflected in this airport. And I hope this gives a template for other areas of this country where such naturonomics models can be applied, so that sustainable development can be pushed, and also the indigenous elements can be integrated with economy and other sectors of the country.
Absolutely. In fact, Mr. Borbora, if I can come across to you again, when we are looking at such a major airport, does this translate into sustained market access in a region which has remained historically isolated? Because we are looking at local producers over there, and this does in fact reflect that broader vision of infrastructure of Prime Minister Narendra Modi that he has been talking about over the past 11 years. We saw 88 new airports in the past 11 years, even in smaller sectors which were underserved. And now we are looking at dealing with 13, around 1 crore people in that particular region alone.
You are right. I think the inauguration of the airport in Guwahati today not only serves the Uran push of the central government, but it also resonates with the larger developmental logic. Now, let me come to the first aspect of what I'm just about to tell you. Just a few months ago, another airport, the Rupsi airport, was also inaugurated. Now, the Rupsi airport was abandoned since the time of the Second World War and has been lying dormant for a long time before the current dispensation started reviving the airport and made it accessible for commercial traffic. Similarly, like I said, having this airport, what it does is that it allows Guwahati as well as the Northeast to emerge in a bigger way as a major transit hub. Now, see, even till a few years earlier, if we had to go to any of the Southeast Asian countries, the idea was that you had to travel all the way to Calcutta and thereby travel onward to the east, which was actually illogical. And the kind of international service that was also introduced in the Guwahati airport, because of the kind of limitations of infrastructure, such services could not be introduced on a larger scale. I think so. The first thing that is happening when we look at the Guwahati the new airport vis-a-vis linkages with Southeast Asian countries is that it will allow larger operations to take place from Guwahati itself. Number two, the state government is also trying to position Assam as a semiconductor hub. Now, which would mean a lot of inflows of people and technology through over the next few years. So again, you would require a major entry port, and then this kind of an airport actually feeds into this kind of a developmental push. Now, what it also does is that if you look at the Indian Prime Minister as well as Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma, both of them are regarded as major figures of development of the Northeast region as well as of Assam. Now, just look at Modi's current visit to the Northeast this time. We should not forget that it is not just the airport that he would be inaugurating, but he would also be inaugurating the Namrup ammonia urea fertilizer plant. Now, if this is something that he is doing in December 2025, just a few months ago, he was in Assam to inaugurate something called a biorefinery in Numolikor. Now, if you remember, in 2017, he was again in Assam to inaugurate one of the longest bridges, that is the Dhola Khodia bridge, which had been actually stalled for almost 2 decades, and it was under his government that the entire the construction of the bridge was revived. So in a way, the construction of the airport, it feeds into the Uran push of the central government, whereby it tries to revive and promote air connectivity. It also feeds into the larger developmental narrative that the Indian central government as well as the state government and their two leaders are trying to project over the last decade and a half. So in that way, I think with the elections just around the corner, this also helps in creating a major perception in the eyes of the voters of Assam, wherein this entire idea of Modi and Dr. Sarma, as well as the two governments led by the BJP, as being seen, even in a larger way, as being associated with the development and connectivity of the Northeast region.
Right. In fact, Mr. Sharma, do you also believe that, because we had the Chief Minister himself mention on social media that this is the benefit of a double engine Sarkar, as you call it, because you're seeing so much development, you're seeing so much infrastructure that is coming into place. And when you look at this particular airport, obviously we are going to see a lot of increase in regional connectivity, in regional trade, because the airport has such a large carrying capacity. So even in regional trade, it will play a major role in employment generation, for maintenance, for operations. Everything comes into the picture.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, in fact, if you look at the speeches that the Honorable Chief Minister and Prime Minister delivered today, just after opening this new terminal, new airport, you see the same points that you mentioned being highlighted by both the leaders. In fact, you mentioned about double engine Sarkar, or double engine government. I think that's a key element. If you see from 2014 or say 2016, when BJP came to Assam onwards, you see lots of projects happening across the state, across the Northeast, where this double engine element actually has helped towards accelerating the growth, accelerating the projects, and bringing in new perspective, where the sensibilities of regionalism have fused with the ideas of nationalism. So that's, I think, a really unique understanding. If you look at it from a theoretical perspective also, it's not just about the physical elements, but what they convey, the ideas that they convey, that's more important. And in this context, this double engine government has fused these two things. And in terms of employment, in terms of opportunities, you see today the youth of the state not just going to the different parts of India, that has always been happened, but now the collaborations have been happening with the other parts of the world, like what we call para-diplomacy, how the state is being used as a tool for diplomacy. I mean, the states are taking a lead part with the guidance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi for diplomacy. We see Assamese youth being sent to Japan with collaborations with South Korea or these sort of countries, Singapore. The state's chief minister has taken great initiative towards talking with these countries directly. You see many ambassadors coming to Assam, and MEA, Narendra Modi, have directly blessed these initiatives. And those things actually help us towards achieving the Act Peace policy. And this airport, as you mentioned, will play the largest role in achieving this.
Okay.
As I understand.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sharma and Mr. Borbora, for joining us on the broadcast and sharing us with that perspective.